How do you explain homeopathy to someone who's unfamiliar with it?
So that question comes up for me a lot every time I go to a family party or any party, and people ask me what I do. I say I'm a homeopath, and it's like, oh, what's that? So I have a number of ways of talking about it, and I keep it simple at first. So I usually say, well, it's a system of medicine that goes back to early man, and it's based on the law of similars, which is like cures like. So it's a very simple idea. And homeopathy, the word is similar, pathos, suffering. Homeo means similar, pathos means suffering. So that's how I explain the roots of homeopathy. If they're still interested, I go on to explain that the law of similars is something that we talk about in everyday life all the time, such as the hair of the dog that bit you. Many people believe that if you're suffering from a hangover, you should have a drink in the morning because it's similar to how it would cause you to feel how you feel now. So one drink, a Bloody Mary usually, right, will straighten you right up. And it's not advice that I give people, but I know what the roots of that idea are. Vaccinations come up, but because they're prophylactic, I don't really consider them homeopathic, and they're not diluted, and they're intravenous, so it's a different territory. So I do not consider vaccinations to be homeopathic. But the actual concept of homeopathy goes back at least as far as Hippocrates, around 400 BC, when he wrote about like curing like. And some of us know that the Delphic Oracle is quoted as talking about like curing like. We know that Shakespeare talked about it. But it was Samuel Hahnemann, this guy, who articulated this into a system of medicine that we still use today, very, very close to how he articulated it 200 years ago. Homeopathy grew quickly in Europe, Western Europe and America, so that at least 20 to 30% of American doctors by 1900 were homeopaths, which is pretty amazing if we think about it now, right? It'd be very unusual to think of it that way today. When I describe how homeopathy works, I usually use very common examples to describe the law of similars, like curing like. So I tell people that if you have seasonal allergies, you might have itchy eyes that burn, your nose might be running, you might be sneezing a lot, and it could possibly remind you of what you feel like when you're peeling an onion. And if that's true, the remedy called allium cepa, which is made from the red onion, could very well cure your allergies. This is a very, very simple example for me of like curing like. Or I use the other example, if you suffer from insomnia, and you find that when you go to bed and you are feeling very restless, actually kind of excited, right? Jittery, and your mind is racing around. You might even tell me that you feel like you just had 3 cups of coffee, even though you gave up coffee years ago because you have insomnia. That feeling that is so similar to having too much coffee is what we call the law of similars. So the remedy Coffea cruda may solve your insomnia problems. I think it's really important for people, even people who don't know about homeopathy, to understand that obviously not everyone's insomnia is going to be cured by Coffea cruda, or everyone's seasonal allergies. Life would be very simple if it worked that way, right? So not everyone's allergies are going to be cured by allium cepa. And that brings me to the other idea behind homeopathy, which is individuation. Every one of you would probably get a different remedy for seasonal allergies. But it's the beauty of homeopathy because we look at each individual. And we are looking to see why a certain remedy would work for a certain person. And it really is the thing to me that separates us, homeopaths, from Western medicine, where they tend to see everyone the same, right? If you are feeling sad, you're going to get one of a few antidepressants, aren't you? But if you're feeling sad and you go to a homeopath, you're going to get a very specific remedy that's specific to you and to your kind of sadness. So we have very long interviews. That's another difference between us and Western medicine. We have very long interviews, often between 2 and 3 hour interviews, in order to find that exactly right remedy. We use homeopathy during acutes, but I think the best use of homeopathy is for chronic issues. And for that, we need to find exactly the right remedy. Does that help?